recorded. We will get this thing ready to rock and roll. So again, as you guys are jumping on the call, make sure you're muted out, but we'll take care of that also on the back end, because we are doing our Team Ambition Sunday call, personal development. And this is the part of the journey that I've loved absolutely the most. It has been the thing that's grounded me but grown me at the exact same time. It's taught me the value of myself and my own voice, and also the beauty of each and every unique person that I'm able and blessed to meet and sit down with, not just in regards to starting the Herbalife journey, but just in life. Everybody has their unique stories, and it's just an incredible thing that we actually get to do. So give me one moment. Boom, boom, boom. So in this call, I'm going to go over a lot of things, and they're going to be all related around mindset. But with tonight's call, we're so excited that leaders decide to show up on a Sunday afternoon. You could be anywhere in the world, and for years we've been able to run this call as an opportunity to come together as a family. And as it's evolved and continue to grow, right, we get the opportunity now to see beautiful faces every Sunday. And as a leadership team, we aspire just to make sure that we give you the best that we have to offer. We have leaders that come on our Sunday calls and share their stories, share their growth. We do incredible recognition. We make sure that we take time to give as much as we have received from this powerful opportunity. And it's all started not only with this call, but with our leadership getting incredible results, and then being willing to share those results. So for each and every one of you on this call, understand that you are the leadership. You are a representation of Mark Hughes' vision, that we get to make this world a happier, healthier place. And just by being the best version of ourselves, we get to continue that. So my journey simply started 5 years ago by seeing our press team member at the time lose 22 pounds, right? I watched Khalil lose his weight, and what I saw was that as he lost the weight, he gained belief. He gained a new level of love for himself, and he also then opened the door and allowed me to join him on this journey. And that was amazing, because my entire life I've been searching to be a part of something bigger than myself, but something that I could have an intricate part in. And so it was really cool to see that my friend had taken his results, and he sat with his fiance, now fiance, our 7.5 Millionaire team member, Alicia Robinson, and was able to be guided through a nutrition plan. And the growth and the belief from them both coming back to Arizona and being able to establish something so powerful, we've now expanded across the country. And we're going to continue to grow. I know leaders on this call that have clients and new developing coaches in other countries, right? When we talk about this being a national call, that's not for long. That 1,000% growth is going to lead to this being a global call. We are going to take over the world with positivity, results, and possibility. And we're going to make sure that we take this to the next level by taking ourselves to the next level. And that's why I'm so excited to be doing our personal development call tonight. So I'm going to go over a couple of things, but I do want to give my very own disclaimer before we really get into it and before I get into my results. So I'm going to also talk about the Herbalife disclaimer, because I am going to share my personal results. And it's just been incredible to see what Herbalife has been able to open up the door to, but also allowed me to take to the next level. So when I share my personal results, when it comes down to it, consumers who use Herbalife Formula 1 once per day as part of a healthy lifestyle can generally expect to lose 0.5 to 1 pound per week. Now, that's what's typical, and I'm going to show you guys what's absolutely possible. In my first 6 weeks, following the guidance of my coach in this business and this incredible nutrition plan, I was able to drop 8% body fat. Then I was able to change up my plan. I shared with my coach that I was like, man, I've been skinny my whole life, man. Like, I really wish I could flex one day. Like, you see those Flex Friday posts? I've been dying to do a Flex Friday post my entire life, because I can tell you, as a skinny kid, it was easy to discard having abs, because it just kind of like came with the territory. Like, you don't have anything but abs to show. You got abs and ribs. So our Herbalife plan, and my coach was able to reformat it, introduce some additional incredible products from our sports line, and help me put on 15 pounds of healthy weight. Like, I was like, let's go, y'all. Like, I actually found some shoulders, y'all. I actually filled in some traps. Yeah, baby, like, let's go. Alicia knew what it was. We getting guns. I can't do burpees like her yet, but we're on a mission to evolve ourselves, continue to get better, and that's all it was. But then the best part was that my journey then took on to another level, because I knew people in my life that had been struggling with their weight. And what it did was it gave me a game plan that I could actually share with others. Now, how personal development comes into play, I will lay out for you guys. But the best thing I was able to do was able to sit my mother down. I was like, listen, lady, I seen you try everything, but you're going to do this thing, and we're going to do it together. I want you to do this with me because I believe in you. My mom being supportive at first, for the first couple of weeks, I had to like really flex the muscle of patience. I don't have much of it, but I developed it over time. And I was able to support her, surround her with other like-minded individuals. Our Fit Fam is truly a Fit Fam because they wrapped their arms around my mom and told her she could do it. We have every age, ethnicity, race, religion, background, sexual orientation on this team. And what it showed her was that if it was possible for one, it was possible for her. And from that, my mom is down and has kept off 45 pounds over 5 years. There's no yo-yo in her life no more. And she's smiling so genuinely. She's able to deal with circumstances in such a powerful way, even to the point where when someone gives my mother a compliment, she doesn't have to deflect it because she now knows that she earned it. Right? When someone says, wow, Deb, you look incredible. You're beautiful. She can just say thank you and appreciation. That's what personal development has done. It wasn't just a nutrition plan. She's grown mentally as a person. So when we talk about 80% nutrition, Herbalife Nutrition, hands down, the best nutritional company in the world. No questions asked. Can't nobody stop us. They can't phase us. They're too busy trying to copy us, right? The 20% fitness, she didn't want to work out those first couple of weeks. She learned how to step into that. But again, this is mindset development because the last piece, the 100% mindset. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. The personal development develops the mindset, and it lets you know how to operate in a powerful space that'll really groom you to be the best version of yourself. So guys, as we get into this, I want to talk to you specifically around the idea of what personal development is, because we as tenured leaders within Herbalife, like we start getting results, we start working with people, but I want to give you an idea of what personal development actually is before I dive into the subject. And so this is my personal belief of what personal development is. And we have a lot of leaders on this call that have been working on themselves, and they'll give you their own version of it. But it's the process of identifying your areas of opportunity or problems, if you want to call them that, but intentionally shifting the energy and your personal power towards solutions as opposed to dwelling on the problems. Right? That's all personal development is now you're flexing the mental muscle and you go, man, right? I wasn't this talented in this area. And now I'm shifting to, but I can get better. Right? Like my go-to thing, like my coach sat down, he knew what he was doing. Like Khalil was really smart, yo. I was like, man, KB, I struggle with Oreos. Like I got an Oreo thing. So when he built out my nutrition plan, guess what he empowered me with? My first 2 shakes were the cookies and cream shakes. He's like, listen, Marcus, you don't have to give up Oreos forever, but if you substitute Oreos for your cookies and cream shake, you'll get the result that you're looking for. It expanded my knowledge and my horizons. It let me know what was possible. Because sometimes we dwell so heavily on what our issue is or our solution or our area of opportunity is that we forget that we have an opportunity to change it. So once you take your power back, you go, man, I've been dealing with this for a long time. Well, isn't it about time you got sick and tired of being sick and tired of dealing with the same issue? Because once you take your power back, you say, yeah, this is me. And if it's me, I can fix it. But if it's always an outside or external issue, there's nothing you can do about that. So personal development is the ability to work on yourself to change your circumstances, right? You don't have to change the world around you. You change yourself and the world around you shifts. So as we get further into this, guys, the next thing I want to ask is what does identifying your problem areas or your areas of opportunity kind of look like? So in all honesty, guys, when you look within yourself, you know what those skeletons in your closet are. And sometimes pride, ego, whatever you want to call it, prevents us from recognizing and identifying them, but also being okay with the fact that they exist. It's like that philosophy, my grandma talked about it all the time, like people want to sweep their ish under the rug, right? She's like, after a while, you're not going to have enough rug for all the problems that life is going to give you. What are you going to do then? Right? So as we're in this uncovery process, you really get to look at the dark secrets of your life and the things that, have weigh heavy on your heart. Everybody on this call, everybody in life has gone through some things. All we're asking now is that we learn the ability to grow through those experiences, right? So as you're looking at this, sometimes those skeletons in the closet, if we actually have an honest conversation with ourselves, they show up in a lot of areas of our life. And it's just a reoccurring cycle. And we're just going through these motions. And we're like, yo, why does this keep happening? Why do people keep treating me like this? Or why do they keep saying things like this? Or why do all of my jobs end up like this? Or why do all my relationships end up like this? Right? There's a reason. There's a lesson that we're not learning. But as soon as you take the power back and you redirect it from the issue and start directing it towards the solution, you're now implementing personal development to empower yourself to live the best life ever. So when you're looking at your life, you can hide issues from the rest of the world. You can pretend like they don't show up. That's probably because your circle can't necessarily identify what it is, but they can tell you there's something that might be off. But usually we avoid even asking the question. So as we're growing through this, I want you to look at yourself in the mirror and literally like have an honest conversation and be like, you know what? I'm really tired of this scenario popping up. And then focus your mind on how you can solve it, how you can come to a space where you're now empowered by it. So it's really cool when you start to dominate and direct your life, right? Because then what you realize is that things that were bothering you, even when we made it up and we gave other people like validation, we're like, man, I hate when so-and-so says this or so-and-so does that. There's a very powerful reason why that thing bothers you. It's because it's within you. And I take it back to when I was really young, right? Before I really got invested and opened my mind up to enjoying going to the dentist. Has anybody had a cavity? And for a while, when you first get that cavity, you're like, oh no, I'm fine. Like, it's okay. Like, I'll deal with it. You only chew on the right side of your mouth, or, you know, if things are hot, like, or too cold, you drink with a straw, you push the straw extra far back so it doesn't hit that cavity. Well, it's the same thing in life. When we have those sensitive areas, somebody says one thing to you, and I'm going to tell you guys from an honest space, whenever like it came to owning my voice, that was my cavity in life, right? I would shy away from speaking my mind because I learned at an early age from somebody that was ill-equipped to guide me that my voice didn't matter. That was my cavity. Personal development became my dentist because it let me know that I could work on healing that tooth. I didn't have to pull the whole tooth out and get rid of the process. I just got to work on that issue because I didn't want it to plague my life anymore, instead of allowing my ego to mask it. Insecurities cause us, when we get hurt, like that tooth hurts, your first response, you drink something too cold and that cavity fires out. You're, oh my God, oh. But instead of taking responsibility, like, man, I could have fixed this tooth a while ago, we get real mad at the tooth. We get real mad at the drink. Man, I'm not drinking this hot tea no more. Got my cavity all mad at me, like it's hurting, right? But what you understand is with personal development, you get to now redirect your energy and start to invest it in the things that are going to solve the issue, right? Let's heal the tooth. Let's take advantage of our chances to be the best version of ourselves by having an honest conversation, because it's never going to be easy. But it's called growing pains for a reason. Right? We want to have the easiest route to success. We want to have the easiest route to the great relationships. If you've ever been in a relationship, you ever been a parent, you ever had to teach somebody, you ever had to be a team captain, you ever had to be a manager at a job, you ever had to lead people in any way, shape, or form, you realize that at no point in time or in life has it ever been easy to do it successfully. Why? Because it's called growing pains for a reason. In order to grow, you got to go through some things. I can speak to this personally, and I know a couple of our leaders can. I remember my sophomore year of high school when I had my first growth spurt. Woo! My knees killed me all the time. I could bump my knee on anything, and it was like crippling pain. Jesus, I hated football practice. It felt like my teammates were always gunning for my knees. Or when you get out of bed too quickly, or you do something, you bump the edge of your bed, right? Like, anybody in here ever stubbed their baby toe? Whew, that pain generates through your whole body. But what you learn is how to be more aware of your environment. In order to grow, you got to go through some things. And there's an incredible opportunity for you as soon as you recognize your area of opportunity and you take advantage of it. So I want to share with you guys from a very powerful space, because as we're growing through and identifying things, Herbalife has given me the platform to identify one of the hardest burdens that I've been blessed to shed. And it was the fact that the role my father played versus the role I expected him to play or wanted him to play didn't align. It always butt heads. And I wondered how somebody could be, quote unquote, a man, but not be willing to do the things that I thought a man should do. But then what I did was I started to take the lessons that I was learning from that person and use them as excuses. Because one of the greatest things my father told me was that my voice didn't have value. Did he say it in those exact words? No. But he constantly gave me things that let me know that when I had something to say, it wasn't of value to him. So then when I was in 6th grade and I wanted to take on speech and debate, I was so excited. One of my uncles is an incredible lawyer in Atlanta. So I was like, man, I could go to law school. Oh, I could do speech and debate. Like I could be a speaker. And when I came home, I was so excited. I shared with my mom, like, oh, man, I got a speech and debate class for one of my electives, and the teacher's really dope. And we're going to have in-class debates, and we're going to put on fake trials, and we're going to have a chance to speak and do all of these things, and yada, yada, yada. And my mom was excited, right? If y'all know, that's my heart. She was ready to pour into me like, baby, go get it. A couple hours later, my pops came home from work. And I was like, yo, Pops, I signed up for this dope elective. Like, it's a speech and debate class. And he looked at me and he's like, that sounds like a class for sissies. I was like, And in that moment, even though my heart told me he had no idea what he was talking about, he wasn't a person of influence. I didn't want to change. I didn't want to switch places with him. He didn't live a life that aspired me. Like some people have a father or a parent in their life and they're like, man, foot for foot, step for step, I want to be just like them. That wasn't this person. But I still took his words, and I realized that I didn't do as well as I wanted to do in speech and debate because when I had chances to speak, I didn't take it. As a team captain for my team, all my coaches were like, Marcus, speak up. Share what you got to share. Be who you're supposed to be. God created you to be something, and yet you're muting yourself. Because I still took my father's words as law. Then when I was working in corporate America, I wanted to promote, and I was like, man, out of training, I was like, man, listen, I'm applying for this training opportunity, right? They were looking for new trainers at my corporate job at the University of Phoenix, and I was just in training. And people were like, nah, we're not there yet. We don't have any reviews on file. Like, we're not eligible for that. And I was like, man, I don't know. So it took me a little while, but I applied for it anyway. But I didn't go to the interview because my father's words from the 6th grade, I'm a grown man now. I'm a grown man paying my own bills, have multiple degrees, busting my tail, got my school paid for, right, from basketball. I did what I needed to do to step into my manhood and say I can stand here with pride. And yet from 6th grade, his words still resonated with me and I didn't step into my greatness. I took an opportunity to become a manager, but what I wanted to be a training manager. And I put my goal aside because of the words of somebody who I wasn't even following in his footsteps. And how often do we take value or place value in the suggestions or the opinions of people that we wouldn't even trade places with? But you know what's beautiful is that because my friend lost 22 pounds, went on to lose 58 pounds, and opened up the door to a company that I didn't even know existed. I got on my nutrition plan. I dropped 8% body fat, put on 15 pounds of healthy weight. I helped my mom lose 45 pounds. That very first month, I went on to help 22 people that I didn't even know needed help. My very first success training seminar, I sat next to my friend and we sat in the audience. And there was a very charismatic leader on stage wilding out. Like, I'm telling y'all, in my mind, I'm still in the corporate mindset. And I'm like, yo, how is this dude? He's wearing green ears and a green cattail playing air guitar on stage. And I'm like, yo, how is this dude earning $40,000 a month? Like, how is this man a representation of a billion-dollar company? How is this man on stage living his passion? And I turned to my coach, my friend, and I was like, listen, I want to do that. And you know what he said? Man, MJ, I wanted to be a professor. Like, I wanted to teach and train too. He's like, let's do it. And in that moment, I found the opportunity that allowed me to address the issue that I had been carrying for way too long. I had finally found, because this is it. Sometimes we're too afraid to share what we actually want in life. We're afraid to say what our goals are. But that's the reason why, and I'm going to give y'all a freedom pass, is we're sharing our goals with the wrong people. You can't give big ideas to small minds. And I realized that in this moment, I was supposed to take my father's words as law. Because what if I would have gone to law school? Or what if I would have taken a different route? What if I would have followed in the route that I thought and become a lawyer at my uncle's law firm in Atlanta and not move back to Phoenix, right? I wouldn't have seen my best friend drop 22 pounds, then 58 pounds. I wouldn't have been extended the opportunity to be a part of Team Ambition. I wouldn't be standing here as a representation of what's possible. I wouldn't have found my voice. I would have artificially been operating in the space that wasn't created for me. So what I'm telling you is what you went through, grow through. Don't beat yourself up, because we could always say, man, what was it supposed to be like? I don't give a dang what it was supposed to be like. I done found my life. And it's all because Herbalife creates a platform for sometimes when we get into this, right, we tell ourselves stories that don't validate our goals, our truth, our passion. And all I'm going to ask you guys is that in that moment, as you're looking at your areas of opportunity, look at your truth. What did God put in you that he hasn't put in anybody else? Where is it that you get an opportunity to step into your greatness as opposed to talking yourself out of it? Who do you get to be as opposed to who you told you aren't worthy of being? Because God put something so special in you that can't nobody take it away. But the person that keeps putting it on the back burner is we ourselves. And now we have an opportunity where people are going to believe in us until we believe in ourselves. They're going to love us until we love ourselves. So personal development has to be so personal that you are also well equipped, that you're willing to share your shortcomings. I talk about this piece all the time. In the 8 Mile, Eminem, the last rap battle, he finally stepped on stage and he said, you know what? I'm going to put all of my insecurities, all of my shortcomings on the table, because if I give you everything that you could use against me, what else is left but my greatness? But instead, we settle for what life has given us. We're too afraid to say, you know what? I had a learning disability. You know what? I'm a man standing here that had to grow himself because my father wasn't either around, or my father was around and he was ill-equipped to be a father. So now I got to teach myself how to be a man. Or, you know, I had a poor relationship with my mother, or as a woman, like I went through some things and I experienced some things that I didn't need to experience. As a child, I was told or dealt with some adult issues that I didn't need to carry. Those burdens didn't break you. They built you. It's just like the weights we lift or the push-ups we do. The things you go through are trying to grow you. The strongest trees are living in the toughest environments. And why? Because calm seas don't make a skilled sailor. You get to become great because you're willing to endure. So as we take this journey, it's so much more than what we anticipated it being. Sometimes we get a little discouraged where we're like, man, when I start working on myself, how come when it rains, it pours? Because God just gave you the umbrella, so endure the rain. You're equipped because everything you went through has made you tough enough to deal with what's coming next. You've been built for this. If I crumbled up $100 bill right now, who would still take it? I'll take it 2 times. If I ripped it a little or I drew on it a little bit, who would still take it? If I dropped it on the ground and I stepped on it, and I ground it into the dirt, who would still take it? Why? Because that $100 bill doesn't lose its value because it went through some things. And neither do you. That's what we're here for. We're here to go through life and realize that life doesn't determine our value. We do. It's not what you intend for your life. It's what you do with it. We got one shot at this. And it doesn't matter to me what you believe. You're here in this moment for one run. 2017 is almost over and we will never see it again. What dreams, what visions are we leaving behind that we could bring to life? Because I also want to share with you guys as we're really diving into this belief on this understanding of personal development, is that there's this hope or this belief that things just organically or naturally grow, right? And I want to give some clarity to this, guys, because over this last year, this year specifically, I've learned that nothing just naturally grows. Everything requires something to feed it. So if you're hoping, like we even have this belief, like you see a child, like if you got a niece, a nephew, a cousin or anything like that, and you see them at like 2 months, then you come and see them at 4 months, you're like, dang, they just naturally sprouted. No, there is no natural or organic process. Like this doesn't just happen. If that child doesn't feed it, what? It perishes. You got to feed it. Somebody has to set the intention they're going to provide. A plant needs to be fed. Everything in life, in order for it to grow, has to be fed and fueled. And what I understand is that life has got us fooled, y'all. Social media gives us this belief that like the gram, it's tripping us up because it sets us up to believe that we're never enough. We're not pretty enough. We're not talented enough. We're not strong enough. We're not rich enough. We're not, we're going through it and we're like, man, always in comparison. Comparison is the thief of all joy. But if you actually look in the mirror and go, ain't nobody like me. Nobody's got what I got. Now, how can I give this to the world? Because this is the last piece of it, is once you start to grow intentionally, once you look in the mirror and say, yo, this was my shortcoming, and now this is going to be my strength. I'm going to develop. I go back to my sophomore year when I was having my growth spurt. One of my coaches was like, Marcus, you've been doing a great job, man. Like, you're up to averaging 12 points a game. And I was like, yeah, coach, like I've been at LA Fitness every day, every night working. I'm working hard on my ball handling. He goes, Marcus, but what you don't understand is that you realize that every defender is pushing you to your left. I was like, well, I mean, coach, they can't stop me to my right. But do you understand at some point you're going to come across a defender that's skilled enough that he's not going to allow you to go right? Where's your left hand? I was like, well, coach, I mean, my strength is my right. He said, stop overlooking your weaknesses. Because as soon as you take your weakness off the table, everything is a strength. He's like, when you can go left, you can go right. Who can stop you? And I was like, dang. And the sad part is it took me a while to understand that philosophy because pride stepped in the way. And it was like, nah, coach, you don't understand. Like I'm in the gym all by myself every day. I'm working, I'm grinding. I'm out there. Oh yeah. MJ fadeaway, right? Like I was trying to develop myself. And then when I opened the door and I was like, listen, coach, will you help me? He was like, all you had to do was ask. So sometimes we're too busy sweeping our insecurities and our weaknesses under the rug that we forgot to ask for help. Because the best part is every test that you've endured gets to become your testimony. That's what we do here in Herbalife. That's why our coaches are who they are. Is they say, you know what? I'm going to put aside the pepperoni mushroom pizza. I'm going to skip on the Oreos. I'm not going to pretend like I don't love Oreos. If y'all know me, I smell Oreos all day. I'm going to stick to it right now, and I still smell Oreos, even though our ladies are now coming up with like eggnog shakes as we get ready for the holidays. Shout out to Nutrition Fix, right? But what I realized is that once you start asking for help, you start to equip yourself with the things you needed to overcome because now you can stand proud in your testimony. I'm no longer afraid to tell people that I didn't have a great relationship with my father. I'm no longer afraid to tell people that I was afraid to use my voice as a child. I'm no longer afraid. Why? Because I realized that my voice has been within me this entire time, and I get to use it to be the best version of myself. And as soon as I shared it, people around me were like, man, MJ, me too. Me too. Yo, I didn't know anybody else went through it. Why? Because I was too afraid to share it. And all these people around me were like, yo, I had to overcome that too. How'd you do it? This is how. And you know what? We got better because there's strength in numbers. But if you always want to be a lone wolf, you wonder why life is so hard. Huddle by the fire. There's a lot of people that are fighting the same battle, and sometimes they can give you the tools. Like MJ, make your left hand a stronger aspect of your game. Sometimes the people around you can give you the tools that they use to grow. And then your testimony is now becomes a bridge for somebody else to create the life that they've dreamt about. As soon as we stop allowing our insecurities to dictate our action, right? We try to feel our way into action all the time. But this life is about acting your way into feeling, right? When you don't feel like it, when you get up and you do it, doesn't it feel better? There's plenty of times where I'm like, man, I don't want to go to the gym today. But when I walk out of there, I'm like, yo, I didn't allow my thought process to stop my growth process, and I'm better than I was when I woke up. This is what we're striving for every day. This is how we get to become better. And you get to create the life of your dreams by actually putting forth the action to create it and stop expecting it. It's easy to expect life to give you what you want, but anything you're given that you didn't earn, you can't keep. And so as we grow through this process, personal development will equip you with the tools. It will surround you with the people. And so I just wanted to share with you guys a couple of tools and resources that I've fallen in love with on this process of growth and development. Right? One of the greatest books in my life, changed the game for me, was The Noticer by Andy Andrews. It was a very simple read, but because I love to learn through stories, it resonated heavily with me. But because I was then able to grow from that book and change my perspective and open up to things that I used as excuses to avoid the things that I didn't want to confront. One of the books that my coach has referred numerous times and lived by was Napoleon Hill's Outwitting the Devil. But because I grew where I needed to grow by reading The Noticer and developing, I was then open to learning what I needed to learn from Outwitting the Devil. Right? Because sometimes we want something so bad. So when my coach was talking about outwitting the devil, I can't lie to y'all. I was jealous. I was like, man, how's he getting so much out of this book? I feel like it's over my head. But God was like, Marcus, you got to take step 1 first before you can take 2. But I had to look at me and say, Marcus, where are you lacking so that you can be open to learn from the people ahead of you? Because I wanted to catch up so bad. I wanted to be like, man, outwitting the devil. Yeah. Like I was sitting in crowds and listening to them have conversations. I'm like, I mean, yeah, it sounds so good. Yeah, that part. And I never gotten there because there was one thing that I was trying to do. And a lot of people have heard this phrase where they were like, fake it till you make it. What I learned was that if I faith it till I make it, I then take the steps that were designed for me to get where I want to be, as opposed to putting myself in environments where everything's over my head. So you got to be willing to grow where you are to get where you're going. And the people that are leading from the front, the people that are showing you a new path, you don't have to be on their stride. You just got to keep going at your own pace. This is the tortoise and the hare all over again. Everybody wants to be the hare. They're like, oh, he's faster, he's illy, he's ready to go, he's this. There's a reason that people make bursts and then they quit, because they're ill-equipped to be consistent on this journey. Oh, the hare. We think about the hare when it's like, oh, that's the best athlete. He's quick, he's fast, he's this, he's that. So that's why he can have a huge burst and then take a nap, right? But the beautiful thing is the tortoise wins the race because he's willing to consistently work on what his strengths are and build up his weaknesses throughout the journey. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Take your time, grow yourself, because if you're supposed to be where you're supposed to be, you just get to take the steps to get there and stop expecting things that happen overnight. We become a microwave generation, right? With so instant access. But if you allow something to marinate for a little bit, if you allow yourself to grow into it, it'll fit so much better. I idolized my brother growing up, and I remember putting his shoes on all the time. Man, my brother was one of the top 3 wide receivers in the state of Florida at one point in time before going into preseason. And I was like, man, I can't wait. And then he threw his whole life away making some ignorant decisions as a young man. But we didn't have a man there to guide him and teach him otherwise. So what I got to do was I got to learn from somebody else's mistakes and reformat my life. And what it did was it showed me a lesson that was going to resonate 20 years later, and show me that when I stepped into Herbalife, in order to become a leader in life, you got to be willing to follow. Sometimes we get caught in this belief that when we become adults, like, we got it. I know. Oh, hey, so-and-so, did you try this? Yeah, I know. I can tell you right now, if you got I know friends in your circle, they don't know ish, and they're setting themselves up for failure. Because as soon as you know, there's no room to grow. And then you realize that you get to grow into things, and that's a much more fun and life-bringing process. But if you already know, you might as well walk out the door. And I'm letting you know now, like, I've been happy to kind of let those friends in my life subside, like fall away, fade away, just like the leaves in the fall. Because if you already know, there's no room for us to grow. And if we're not growing, I can't grow with you. That means my life is destined for a different path. And I love you nonetheless, but we got things to accomplish on this journey. So the last thing I want to talk to you guys about is what are your life goals, right? And hopefully you found some like things that you aspire for. And I'm going to ask that you really break down your goals, because personal development now will give you the resources necessary to achieve your goals. But your goals get to be first about you. Because you get to stop telling yourself the stories that aren't empowering you to own your life. You get to change the direction of your life. You get to decide who's going to be with you and who's going to fall away. You get to decide the direction that you're going to take your relationships, you're going to take your career, you're going to take your role as a parent, a significant other, a mother, a brother, and a friend. If you're tired of half-assed friends, please stop being one. If you're tired of struggling with the people around you, that's because you're struggling inside, and you may think that you can negate the struggle within, but the universe is only going to give you what you're willing to give. You're attracting things in your life, and as soon as you say, you know what, I'm going to start working on me, you'll realize you start attracting different. Your brain works very powerfully, and what you seek or what you think about, it's going to bless you with. I know here at Stick to It, we talk about it all the time. Like, you see your dream car. You be like, man, it's time. I remember when Khalil first went to get one of his first dream car, and he started talking about it. That thing was everywhere. It was in ads all the time, magazines all the time. And then when I was like, man, I'm going to go get my dream car, all of a sudden it was on every block. I was like, I didn't even see this thing a month ago. But then what I realized was, I was like, dang, how else does this show up? And then I realized that I was like, man, my voice doesn't bring value. And what I realized was that some of the people that were coming into my life, they wouldn't speak. And I'd be trying to communicate with them. I'd ask a question and they couldn't answer it. And I was like, wait a minute, Marcus. You're picking mute people because you yourself are still operating as a mute. We fail to realize the power of the law of attraction. It's working for us or against us at all times, but we are in control. And if you take that control back, you will live your life on a whole nother level. So this journey of personal development is extremely uncomfortable. Once you open up the wound, yes, some things are going to hit it. But if you constantly cover it up and you never take the time to take care of it and medicate it and heal it and let it heal naturally, that wound will be easily opened all of the time. So I'm going to ask you to take yourself to the dentist, heal the cavity by looking in yourself and saying, who do I get to be as opposed to who I've been? Who do I choose to be? I'm going to take my power back, and I'm going to love myself for who I am and also who I'm becoming, because this process takes time. It takes 15 years to be 15 years old, but we always want to speed it up. I remember I really wanted my permit so bad. I was like, man, I can't wait to get my permit. But what I realized was that I was overlooking life that was happening in the moment because I was so busy focused on a future that I wasn't mature enough yet to handle. So if we take our steps and we take our time and we work on ourselves every single day, we'll open the door and to the blessings that we've been praying for, but we'll be prepared to handle them when they arrive. That's all I got for you guys tonight. Thank you guys so much for being on our personal development call. Hopefully that resonated with you. It's been an absolute pleasure, mainly because this was another opportunity of me being able to find my voice. And so I appreciate each and every one of you giving me your attention and giving me your love. As we continue to take this to the next level, step into your greatness. Do not allow 2017 to end without you striving for your goals and your greatness so that those around you can achieve and believe all over again. Let's change the game. 2018 is on fire. I love you guys. Have an incredible night.